gain independence from its colonial masters, with the first president being Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, and was assassinated. And we don't still know who assassinated him, but he was the leader with 5 others who led the country Ghana into independence. And after independence, we had a series of military dictatorship, military coups that abused all the human rights that you can think of. But after some time, the global situation forced most countries to go democratic. So for almost 30 years now, Ghana has been a democratic country. And just last December, we also had elections on 7th December. You had yours in November, we had ours in December. And the incumbent lost to the opposition party. The first run, they didn't get a 51%. That's the rule. You have to get 51% plus something before you. And they didn't get, and there were 8 parties. It's a multi-party system, multi-party system. I would say multi, the Americans would say multi. So it's a multi-party system. So there were 8 parties contesting for the presidential one. And there was no one shot, so they had to go a second run. But then in the second run, it has to be the main 2 that have had this percent. So the opposition and the incumbent went for the runoff, and the incumbent lost to the opposition. And I have somebody who says to me, you know, there's somebody in Ghana, he has a philosophy of voting. He said he will never vote for an incumbent government. So I asked him why. He said, you know, they spend the 4 years learning how to steal. And then when you vote them into power the second time, then they really steal. So he would never vote for an incumbent. I mean, in Africa, politics is so dirty sometimes. One of our biggest problems is bad governance and bad leadership. And corruption is one of our biggest problems. If people can give us all the aid and the support, the financial that we need, but until our leaders, political leaders, can be held to political standards of behavior, in terms of accountability, in terms of transparency, in terms of involving the citizen, civic engagement, I don't think we will go anywhere. But that is working. Most presidents, most governments that come in, they are being kind of forced, whether they like by the international community and all that, to really bring the country to a standard of less corruption and more transparency. Because otherwise, you cannot access a lot of things from the international community, from IMF, from UN, from World Bank, from all this. There is a measurement of which country is less corrupt and all this. There are all these statistics there. So you ought to get to some level to be able to assess a lot of things with the international bodies and all that. So most countries are trying hard to measure up to that, even though it's not very easy and all that. But I would say Ghana is certainly still better. It's better now. Peace is only the basic thing. And once you have peace and stable government, you know, sometimes you are doing so well. Look at Liberia. Liberia was such a wonderful country. Look at Sierra Leone, was a wonderful country. Kenya, Sudan, there's a little conflict and everything is wiped out. And then everything else is misery and suffering and killing. So and then all the developments and things that they have done, just a little conflict and people will die, destruction of life and property, and they go back to square cost 90. And so if you can really enjoy, and that's why we have a lot of people coming to Ghana, investors and all political relations and all that all over, because they think that it's a stable government and they are practicing democracy. It will never be perfect. There are all the lapses there, but at least we are making an effort to try to be democratic in our political dispensation. So that's something that is helping the country. Yeah. Well, yes.
I have a question about those boxes.
Yes.
I remember when I was in elementary school, we used to have those boxes in all of our classrooms.
Yes.
Those are sponsored by Catholic Relief Services.
Hmm?
They're sponsored by CRS? They are?
Yes. Yeah.
Do you know how we would get them in this school? Like,
she lives here, and there's an office here, and so they have them. I'm just coming to say thank you, but like when we went to Bishop Almini yesterday, boxes, everybody is going to try to take one home and put it either on your dining hall table or whatever change you save, you put it there, and it all adds up. When we went to the girls' school, all the schools have gone, people are going to take them, and there's a little hole there. You know, just change. You don't want, sweep it, put it there, don't throw it away. It helps. You know, I was saying, maybe for a nickel or a dime for you, you may say this is nothing. But trust me, it makes a difference. It's huge money in Africa and in my country. Because you will not consider that a dollar cannot do anything for you. But a dollar can feed 10 children. Give them a beautiful snack. And so it helps. And so these things are there, and we have an office here at Diocese, and they can give you any amount of these things, any number that you want, anybody will for. And it's all about, it's not just the money, you know, it's written on it, pray, fast, learn, and give. The first thing is prayer. You know, when people go on retreats, what do? They pray and pray. And it's prayer that all the problems in the world, we can have all the resources and money and everything, unless we bring God into the, you know, somebody said, all the governments, they always say, by 2015 or 2010, they will reduce hunger by 90%. Or by 2015, all children in the world will be in school. And then one day somebody said something. He said, the governments can make all these plans, make them beautiful plans and strategic plans and all that. But until you put God in these plans, they don't work. I mean, of course, that's somebody's perspective, but it's a perspective that I share. And a lot of the times, our prayer life, like if you ask me what's the best thing we need in Africa with all these problems, the first thing I will say is just pray for us. Sometimes prayer can work miracles. Until there is an inner conversion of people, I mean, to live in peace. You cannot bring it from outside. It has to start from inside. And I think it's a personal conversion that can help us to stay away from corruption, to try to live in peace, to see myself in you and you in me, that we are all human and all that. It starts from within. And I think it's prayerful reflection that can help us understand these things and pray that God saves us from that. So they talk about prayer, fast. And fasting, they talk about solidarity with the rest of the world. There are many children in Africa who they fast not out of choice. They fast because they just have to fast. There's nothing to eat, so every day is a fast. And so when you intentionally fast and say, I've been spending $5 for a snack, and today I want to spend just $4 for a snack and save $1, you are denying yourself something. But in punishing yourself, you are helping somebody, you are giving joy to somebody else. You understand? I go for a movie but during Lent, 1 week I will stay, one day I'll stay away from movie, and that money is going to feed hundreds of children. Think about $5, you can feed 100 children. I mean, think about it. It happens. So I'm just, these things are there, and it's like a formation thing. It's not just about the money. And trust me, Catholic Relief Services for this thing, when I go to churches to speak, I tell them it's not about the money. It's about knowing one another, realizing that we need to understand each other and learn about each other to be able to support one another in the relevant ways. Even though I tell you about all these difficult things in Africa, in my village, if you go, there's no electricity, there's no running water. People walk, no sandals, no shoe, nothing. You see them, and yet they look so happy. You wonder why they are happy, but they are so happy. Maybe if you take them and come and put them here today, they will be so confused. They would rather prefer to go back to the village. So it's not like they are not happy. You see joy. You see happiness. You see life in them. You know, so So I come here and some people say, but why not just bring your family here? And I said, no. It's important for them to live in Ghana. Let them grow up as Ghanaians. Let them make that cultural, that whatever experience in Ghana. I came here to go to school. I did my master's here in the Bay Area, and I had 5 years to study, but I did it in 16 months, and I was back home, and everybody thought, why are you going home? And I said, it's important to go home, to give back to the village what I received free of charge. So I'm there. So it's about sharing the resources, the blessings that we have. And it's important, it's not fun to be poor.